Hey guys, Omar here, broker and CEO of Alden Mortgage and Omar Realty. So from a guy, I have awesome credit. I have over 800 credit score, and I look at credit scores every day of my life. I can officially tell you that I don't know how the hell credit scores work. I don't know how they calculate it. Nothing they do makes sense, because I'll tell you right now, just 5 years ago, I had horrible credit. Like, I'm talking about terrible, terrible credit. And what did I do? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I did, and you could go ahead and try it and see if you could go ahead and get your credit up too. So the first thing that I did is, everybody's heard of Credit Karma. You have heard of Credit Karma, and if you haven't heard of Credit Karma, well, you heard it. We have no affiliation with Credit Karma. There is not a sponsorship or nothing like that. But I did use Credit Karma, and I went on it and I looked at every single derogatory remark that I had on my credit report, and I disputed every single one of them. I disputed things that maybe I shouldn't have disputed, but I did it anyway. Because what happens is, okay, so a few of the ones that I did dispute, they incorrectly inputted the collections, and then in turn, since it was a mistake on their part, they had to go ahead and wipe it completely out, which I don't know why people don't tell you, but that's something that you should know. So right out the gate, okay, once I started using it and I started like thinking, because I was getting really, I've never had to worry about my credit score. Because when it comes to owning a business, now we do own Omar Realty and Alden Mortgage, and for any real estate needs, up to 50% commission rebate, link in the description below. And if you need any mortgaging assistance, link in the description below as well. This is we're equal housing opportunity. All the disclaimers are in the description below. But anyways, I disputed pretty much everything that actually went into collections. Some of them didn't, and then all of a sudden, like, my credit score would go like jump 100 points when I would dispute something and something came off, and then for some reason it would drop like another like 60 points, and it was like, I swear to God, the little graph thing that they give you on Credit Karma might look like a roller coaster with Tourette syndrome. I didn't understand what was going on. I had no idea. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, because I want to do some more personal stuff instead of relying about business credit. Now, business credit is a thing that a lot of people use. I use it. I'm solely based off of business credit. Even though I have a really good credit score right now, anybody who is self-employed, anybody, run off of business credit, because business credit will give you way better deals and way more advantages than having things on your way. And then if things don't work out, or if you go bust, you won't take the effect on it, especially if you have an S Corp and an LLC, which we have an LLC, and then for tax purposes we have an S Corp, which I'll go in depth with in another video of what I do. Maybe it'll work for you, maybe it won't, but whatever. So then the second part, after I started disputing a lot of things. Now, mind you that a lot of this is going to be a waiting game, okay? So if you're watching this video and you're like, oh, I want a perfect 800 credit score, number one, you have to realize is that one thing I do know 100% is that you are going to need certain time of credit in order for you to build up your credit score. Also, credits doesn't mean everything, just so you know. Credit score does not mean anything. We always have the rule of three, okay? We have your credit score, your employment, and then the length of your salary. So, like, let's say, for instance, if you made like, and in the mortgaging world, on the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac side, we actually go off of 2 years. So 2 years tax returns, 2 years, 2-month bank statements, and then we have, you know, your credit history. So your credit history is like one part of the whole piece of the puzzle. But for the sake of this video, we're just gonna stick to the credit and try to get ahead of this. Number two, after you're done with the whole Credit Karma thing and you're actively disputing, number two is, I just went ahead and started calling these collection agencies and try to settle out for pennies on the dollar, because what they want to do is, so to understand what collection agencies do, they buy all this debt from whatever it is. So let's say, for instance, if you owed $5,000 to, I don't know, American Express, right? This collection agency will go ahead and buy it for like maybe like $50. Pennies on the dollar, right? Very low amount. And then what they'll do is they'll try to collect the debt with you. So anything above whatever they paid for is their profit. So what they'll do is you'll just try to settle out, try to like negotiate, and if the first one doesn't come to agreement with you, then you could just wait until they get sold off to somebody else, or you keep trying to work out with them, and then finally come to an agreement to go ahead and settle out the charges. But when you do settle out the charges, make sure that they are going to go ahead and delete that settlement charge off of your credit, which you are able, and if they don't, which sometimes it happens, okay? You know, even though they'll say a bunch of stuff, they're a collection agency after all, right? If they don't, you could always just dispute it again with Credit Karma, which, by the way, Credit Karma is such an awesome platform. Like, yes, they do entice you to go ahead and get their Credit Karma app. You download it, and then they try to sell you credit, they try to sell you mortgage, they try to sell you auto loans. But as far as the free service part of it goes, it's amazing, especially if you do it. Except for the I think the Equifax part. The Equifax part, you can't dispute it with it. You have to go ahead and go to Equifax and sign up with their account and then do it with them. But okay, so we went ahead and did the dispute. We did the collections, if you do have anything in collections. And then after you wipe all of that stuff out of there and they're all done, now we have to go ahead and start rebuilding credit. Now your credit, here's another very important thing that you have to understand. Do not use a debit card. I don't know why people are using debit cards. Throw your debit card away. Take that son of a bitch, chop it up, and throw it in the garbage, because it is pointless. It does nothing for you. What you do is every payment and paycheck that you get, you're gonna go ahead and put it in any investment account that you have, whichever you have allotted. If you work for a company, you have a 401k or anything, take the rest of that amount and put it towards a credit card. You will have a positive balance. Enlighten me. What is the difference if you put your money in a credit card and you have a positive balance versus putting it in a debit card? What's the difference? You're still using a credit card, except you're still using this little plastic thing with a magnetic strip on it. Except A, with a credit card, you have more protection. B, you're building up every last bit of, like every transaction you do, it's reported on your credit. It's not on a debit card. And then number 3, you get points on a credit card. You don't get that with a debit card. You don't get anything with a debit card. Use it, pay it off. Use it, pay it off. Now there is this rule that everybody says that there's like this 15 to 30% utilization rate that you should kind of stick around on your credit card, which I disagree. It doesn't make any sense. What I do agree on is showing that you could make the payments. Now here's number 4. I think we're on number 4, okay? 3 or 4, whatever. When you are making your payments, stagger your payments. I staggered my payments, and I swear to God, I saw a 150 point jump in like this. It was the craziest thing. And it was like, I mean, okay, it wasn't like this, but it was like in like 2.5, 3 months. It was just like, it was crazy. Like it just all of a sudden came out of nowhere. What I mean stagger your payments is, if you can, make a payment every 2 weeks. Because that shows that you are able, that shows that you make kind of like double payments, because you're in essence, you're hacking the whole credit system. So make double payments. Pay once on the 15th and then once on the 1st. Once on the 15th, one on the 1st. It depends on when your billing cycle. So I'm assuming your billing cycle will fall on the 1st. Put one on the 1st, one on the 15th, one on the 1st, one on the 15th. And then this will show that you're just making crazy amount of payments. So you're taking your money, your paychecks, or wherever you get your money from, put it on your credit card. The rest of it, put it in an investment account, because you want your money to work for you, right? You don't want to just sit there and be this, you know, Joe Schmo where you're just relying on saving. You don't want to just put your cash in to make what, like 0.0025% on your money. That doesn't make any sense. Just be smart with your money. Don't be scared of putting money against a credit card. At least with a credit card, like some of them have 4 to 5% return on their money. Use it. It doesn't make any sense. Then you're like, oh, Omar, we have to pay interest fees on all of that. Yeah, but you get all that back if you're paying it every couple of weeks. If you are taking money and paying off that credit every couple of weeks, you'll barely even notice it. You won't even see anything. But I did it, and it went crazy. I do this with my business credit cards, but personal, like, and I'm telling you, I had horrible credit. I didn't have good credit. I had terrible credit, and I built that sucker up. And like, honestly, it took me about 3 years before I actually built it up. I will say I did get lucky with being able to get a lot of the derogatory marks off of my credit, and I use it as Credit Karma through Credit Karma. That's why I liked it so much, because it was so easy to do. I mean, I honestly did it while I was sitting in the bathroom, and I was just like disputing, and you went ahead and went from there. But going back to the utilization, I don't agree with the utilization, the 15 to 30%. I say use as much as you can, and then pay it all off at once. But do not fall in the trap. That's why I say put your money into the credit card and have a positive balance instead of just putting it in a checking account. Because you don't want to get into the part where you take money and you put it in a checking account, which your checking account was pretty much the most pointless thing in the entire world. And then, you're like, oh, I got to make $1,000 payment. And you don't. And you're making $100 payments or $50 payments or whatever your minimum is. Don't do that. That is a horrible, horrible idea. But go ahead and do that. Number 4, after I started building on my credit, I started like taking every